angels, it's Hailey Reese, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so beyond grateful that you are here, and I really and truly do hope that you are having an absolutely incredible morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you when this video finally reaches you. Today's video is one that I am so excited to get right into because there is so much that I have to say. And beyond that, I'm so curious to hear your thoughts on said experiences and what truly may be going on all across our world. Today we're going to be exploring yet another glitch in the matrix experience, except this experience isn't exclusive to one individual. This experience is shockingly similar to thousands of experiences all across the world that have recently began occurring. And these experiences share one very terrifying thing in common. It seems as though these glitches are not just a distortion of reality or a misunderstanding. It seems like these glitches may be an overlay to the future or a visitation back towards our present time from a version of us in the future. Now, I know that sounds crazy and sounds absolutely unbelievable, but with all the things surfacing and the credibility of these experiences only increasing, it leaves me to wonder, could there be real warnings in these experiences, and what do they mean for us? Today, we're going to dive into exactly that. We're going to explore the experiences, what they have in common, what this looks like it means for us, and what it could mean for our future. And furthermore, what the warning is about our present and where that leads us in the future. Now, if you're new to my channel, or perhaps you haven't been on my channel as of lately, I just wanted to take a moment to remind you that I am uploading a new video every single day. We have got some pretty interesting and shocking topics that we're going to be diving into over the next month. So if you do enjoy my content or you'd like to just see some more of me, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button. Make sure that your post notifications are turned on. And also make sure to let me know down in the comment section below any topics you want to see me cover or any rabbit holes you want me to dive further down. But with all of that being said, let's get into today's video because again, there is a lot to cover here. So one of the first things that I really want to discuss here is the concept of time. Now, it's believed by a lot of people that the past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. And therefore, as you exist currently, simultaneously, so does your past self and therefore your future self as well. We also know that time is man-made. Time doesn't actually exist. It's simply a means of calculating time to the best of our human capabilities and within our earthly experience. But when we think about time as a whole, we know that it's simply our perception of time elapsed that we've created. Now, why this is relevant and incredibly important is because dating back to more specifically the year 2020, many of people began noticing a difference in the concept of time or within their personal perception of time. Now, what I mean by this is a mass amount of people started coming together, more specifically online, detailing the fact that within their day-to-day lives, time has been continuously changing for them. To some, it felt as though time completely stopped, and that each and every day was essentially a Groundhog Day, so to speak, where it felt as though they were living the same day over and over again. Or that perhaps they felt as though so much time had elapsed, but when they looked at the clock or they looked at what the time should be one way or another, they realized that really next to no time had passed at all. But then there were the mass amounts of people who came forward stating that they felt as though time just started speeding up, that it was as though from that moment onward, time flew by. And what's interesting is that I too have noticed a shift in time, and this is a whole video in and of itself and the theories surrounding that. But for me, it seems as though it's a combination of both. In the present moment, time feels as though it takes much longer, but in the hindsight of it all, in the grand scheme of it, looking back, it seems as though time is going by in the blink of an eye. Now, why is this important? There are many people and many theories suggesting that from that moment onward, our perception of time changed because our timeline changed, and that we perhaps quantum leaped, or there was some sort of quantum immortality involved. But regardless, it seems as though we had shifted to a new dimension or a parallel universe. Now, the reasoning for all of this varies depending on who you talk to and what theory you're diving into, but more often than not, there's people who believe the world as we knew it then ended. There's people who have compared certain calendars and really come to the conclusion that the world may have ended then, or the world that we all knew prior to then completely ended or changed. So when over the last couple of years, glitch in the matrix experiences started increasing, or at least they started becoming more and more talked about, people started to wonder if the changes in the feeling and perception of time correlated at all with the idea of these glitches and what people were experiencing with these glitch in the matrix experiences. A lot of the glitches that we covered in the past, and a lot of them that were very consistent with one another, revolved around the idea that they were within their same lives, but certain details that were very, very specific had changed. The layout of their house had completely flipped, or the couch that they'd had forever was suddenly a different color. The name of a childhood friend they remembered was a completely different name when they talked to other people. And this was happening not just to one person, not just to even a group of friends, but to people all across the world and within different countries, with language barriers keeping their stories apart from one another. So when this particular glitch in the matrix experience started coming forward, and there were once again mass amounts of people stating that they've had this same experience, it started to leave people wondering if this really is a glitch that gives a look into the idea of what's happening to us and our current timeline, or perhaps the idea that time no longer exists the way that we once viewed it. These experiences are tending to all start the same. Everybody wakes up on a seemingly normal day, going about their business. Now, in most stories, considering that most people work, everybody seems to get up and get ready for their typical work day, some of which stay home to work, others go into the office. But the one thing that they all seem to notice right after waking up is that looking at the clock and the idea of time feels really off to them from the beginning. Now, some of these people have claimed that they've noticed over the recent years a shift in their perception of time and the feeling that comes along with time, but others said that they've never even really given the time much thought other than making sure that they're relatively timely in their day-to-day lives. But nonetheless, they all share the experience that time feels like it's either moving very, very slowly or very, very quickly. And there seems to be consistencies with jumping of time, either time going backwards or time going forwards. But throughout all of these experiences, the one thing that is very, very similar in them all is that their day starts out with some sort of recognition of time either feeling off or being evidently off when the clock either changes or their path throughout the day changes and their schedule therefore falls off track. As they continue on their days, this feeling just increases of them not being real or not feeling real in the world that they're within. A lot of them describe walking in the streets or getting on the bus or getting in a taxi or even just driving to work and feeling as though the world around them is moving in a way in which they're the ones out of place. Now, what I mean by this, and again, this isn't my experience, it's through what I've gathered from people's statements in this, is that they feel as though they're the ones moving through a world that's either in slow motion or moving too quick, and that everything about their day feels slightly off. Some people notice that the colors of things are different, or certain buildings that they thought were once something now suddenly appear to be something else. But either way, these things just don't quite add up. Now, by later in the day, they will all, at one point or another, run into an individual that looks, feels, and is essentially a version of themselves. Now, how this person is described really varies depending on the individual experiences. Some claim that it looked like a twin version of their current selves. They looked pretty much the exact same. And others claimed that it looked as though it was a futuristic version of themselves, or a completely different version of themselves, like different hair color or different style. But one thing that they all know is that it's definitely most certainly them. And in all of these experiences, they claim that they have a conversation with their future self, who claims that they have come to warn them of the battle of good versus evil, claiming that in our current timeline, we are within a really pivotal, important battle. Now, what I found to be a little bit strange is that each person kind of goes on to say that their future selves delivers them a message, but that message is told to not be shared with anybody else, meaning it's a message specifically for them. Following meeting said version of themselves, everybody explains, once again, going back to that feeling of the world feels off. Obviously, a lot of them feel as though they're losing their minds, that this is absolutely not happening. And a couple more things with the clock tend to occur as well. Now, one detail that everybody seems to mention is that they feel as though this isn't real. And the future version of themselves provides each and every one of them, apparently, allegedly, with a piece of information that will come to fruition in the coming days and prove to them that what they were experiencing in that given moment was very much real. Now, each individual claims at this point they wake up and it seems to be a new day. Within this day, they still have the memory of the previous day, but nothing feels off in the way it did the day before. Where things get really, really eerie is that once they look further into their day, meaning they actually open up their phone or they turn on their computer or they look around their home, they realize that it's not a new day. In fact, it's the exact same day they feel as though they've already lived. Now, many of them claim that they felt terrified, while others claim they thought it was just a wacky and weird dream. Now, how did they all find one another and start sharing these experiences? Because whatever happened in that terrifying dream or unbelievable experience would transpire in the next couple of days exactly as their future self had told them. In one particular experience, a girl claimed that her sister would come and tell her in the next couple of days that she was pregnant with her rainbow baby, to which her future self had already told her that she was going to become an aunt. There were other situations of even worldly things that would happen that weren't really significant, but definitely couldn't be coincidental. And one way or another, they decided to dig a little deeper and try to find one another. Now, here's where it gets really strange. There are some people who claim that whenever they try to find one another and share their experiences in any sort of forums or online sites, they can find one another, start talking, and then it seems as though said thread just poof, disappears, almost as if it never existed. In fact, they claim if you find a forum where everybody's talking about this, it seems as though you're only able to really have that conversation in the moment, because next thing you know, it's as if that conversation never existed. Now, I know what so many people could be thinking. This is just a coincidence. People are having these strange dreams, and through all the experiences surfacing, perhaps it's in the subconscious of many people and said dreams are happening. People are feeling there's a real shift and there's something big coming within our timelines. But what do you think it means in the good versus evil? And what do you think it means for our future? Why would so many people be having these experiences? And why would they be disappearing? Do you think this could be some sort of urban legend or just stories circulating, especially with October now here? Or do you believe that the increase in glitch experiences and the perception of time changing for many is much more than a coincidence? I would absolutely love to know what you think down in the comment section below. If you've ever had an experience like this, if you've experienced a glitch and you're comfortable sharing your story, please, please, please let me know that down below too. But nonetheless, that is basically the recent collective glitch experience, and where our future selves comes into it has a lot of people on edge. Oof. What do you think? Well, you guys, that is it for today's video. If you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed, but you do enjoy my content, I would so appreciate it more than you would ever know if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button. And please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until tomorrow, I love you. Bye, guys.